Hey Peter, how's it going, man? My stream health says it's not optimal. What? Well, let me know if the stream looks weird. I think it looks fine. But yeah, so I'm just gonna be hanging out. We're probably gonna get started here in like 5 minutes or so. So yeah, we're just gonna hang out, probably like 7:10, maybe. Give everybody a chance to sort of get in here and hang out. So yeah, we're just gonna be hanging out. We'll be rocking and rolling here in a minute. Wait, this is the old one. Dang it, where is the new? Okay. I thought I had the new palette in front of me. So yeah, give me a minute. I gotta figure out where I placed it. I obviously was stupid and put it somewhere. That, or actually, you know what we'll do? I was thinking about putting it up on the screen. So I think that's what we'll do. I'm gonna, hold on. I have an idea here. Actually, I think this is a good idea. What's up, everybody? Alright, so yeah, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw it up on screen. So I have to figure out... Alright, white and light color. Where did I save you? There it is. Yep. Hey, David. Hey, Jamie. Okay, that's so weird that I don't know where I put this extra one. But I think this is actually going to be easier because it is probably... Well, it gives me more real estate. Alright, so, how big does it need to be for you to see? Perfect. And then we're gonna take a little snip. Little snippet here. Boom. You know, if this works out well, I'm gonna be super pleased. I think this actually may be the way that we do it from now on. This may actually work really well. Okay. Again, for those of you that just popped in, we're literally just hanging out waiting for anyone else that may be scraggling on in there. Alright, so, image. Boom. You know when you save something really quick and you don't even consider what you named it? There we go. Alright guys, let me know if this is big enough. Actually, I can check. Sorry. I was gonna say, let me know if this is big enough to where you can actually see. I'll adjust it so that it's big enough. I don't think anybody's watching on a phone or anything, so. Okay, so it's almost big enough. I'm gonna move it like this. I can actually make one that's bigger if we really need it, but... Yeah, I don't think that looks very good. Alright, hold on one second. Gonna take a better screenshot here, or snippet rather. No, let's try again. Wait a minute. I'm being really bad about this saving stuff incorrectly. All right. Then let's replace this. Hopefully this one's better resolution, so. Oh yeah, it's much bigger. All right. What do you know? All right, guys. Does that look okay? Let me know in the chat if you can see the numbers correctly, and then that way I can just literally reference our palette as we're working. But I think that works. I think that this is cool. I can make it a little bit bigger if you need me to, so do let me know. You were watching on your phone? That's funny. Well... Oh, well, I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. Because I know, Brian, you actually have the palette. So if I say I'm using number 11, you can see it. So I guess that doesn't matter. Alright, let me actually go grab the miniature. And we'll get rocking and rolling. Oh, maybe I should show you guys these. A little bit of an exclusive. God, I almost knocked my display case over. So these were the miniatures I was talking about right here. Yeah, what do you think about that? It's gonna be really cool, huh? But guess what? That's not all of them. I mean, look at that. Oh, by the way, so the company Aradia Miniatures that makes some amazing sculpts is running a Christmas special where you can either get 20% off of an order, or you can pre-order one of their Christmas exclusives and then order anything else, and you can get another miniature of your choice for free. So there is a potential there to save a ton of money. The miniatures are expensive. They are very high quality resin, and they'll blow your brain if you check them out. So it's Aradia. Brian, these are from Big Child Creative. Big Child Creative is also going to be opening a late backer kit for their second Kickstarter. This was their first one, and the miniatures are amazing, but they're a little bit different, so. All right, 5. All right, we got one more person in here, and we'll get started. So again, right, I primed mine with gray because it is a light color. Oh, sorry. Let me clean this off. Pretty much the focus of this class is going to be, you know, I could have named this like working with contrast or something similar, because that's sort of what it boils down to, that we're going to be doing is really playing with contrast with lighter colors and everything like that. So I guess I should double check I have all the colors I need here. I think I do. Yeah, should be good. Got the blues, got the greens. What's funny is I'm looking up at this palette and I'm like, yeah, let me double check. Yeah, all right, we should be cool. Oh yeah, for sure, because this color is exactly, okay. Oh, by the way, random comment. Oh, David, so yeah, I'm getting the new Santa, and then I'm painting it up, and I'm giving it to my mom, because she likes, you know, decorations and stuff around the house, so that'll be a Christmas present for her. So these minis, are like, so, actually this color is way wrong. Hold on, we gotta adjust this camera. Showing this right now on the camera, that is not right. Let me fix it. But this whole, commission is very strange. It's actually the production company out of Hong Kong that set it all up, and they contacted me. And I was like, I don't really paint stuff like this, but I can make them look cool, you know, because these definitely aren't like meant to be painted, but they wanted to see what I could do. So always pretty weird around here with interesting projects. So I think it's the white balance, right? There we go. There we go. All right, now we're good on color. All right. Yeah, but anyway, David, the Santa's amazing. What I really want is that 75 mil giant polar bear. That thing, that's got to be 10 inches across. It's so huge. I mean, and the price on it's like over what, 200 USD, but man, that is a good looking miniature. All right, so we may as well get started here. Looks like we got 5 people watching that have been watching, so we'll get started like in 1 minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a glove on. I've got a drink here. So I bought a 2-liter of Diet Coke because I put garbage in my body all the time. And of course, because I don't have an ice machine in my fridge. What was the whole thing? So it's supposed to be, honestly, I feel like they had these chess pieces and they created a game around them, because this is not at all what the artwork looks like, and it's supposed to be someone that's shape-shifting, but it made no sense. And then, like, this is supposed to be representative of a female sorceress that has nothing to do with the artwork. This is also super top-heavy and doesn't even stand up, but, like, this is literally what they're giving to people in the Kickstarter, so... But your boy's gotta make a living, alright? So, look, it is what it is, guys. You know I'm always honest with y'all, but I got to charge them a surcharge because they were like, can you squeeze this into the schedule? And I'm like, yeah, it's literally an additional 30% of your total, and it's due up front on top of the deposit. And they were like, okay, no problem. And I'm like, oh, God. I gotta make some money, guys. I mean, come on. Okay. Let's rock and roll. So I don't really necessarily have a plan for this miniature in terms of color scheme ahead of time. We've got some browns, greens, some yellow, gray, and blue. What I'm thinking we do, he's gonna have a blue hat. Boom, that's easy. We're gonna give him a blue, you know what? We're gonna do the hat and his cowl in blue. So that's gonna match. He's gonna be very matchy-matchy, very high fashion. Then for the robe proper, let's do the yellow, kind of the sandy yellow that you see on the second row. And then on the interior portion and on his pants, or maybe just the interior portion, we'll do some of the brown. Some of this we'll do traditional, like you can pick whatever you want for the colors. And then let's say like the gloves we do in the green. I don't know. We'll work all the colors in there, but it's not gonna, I mean, this is gonna be a really nice miniature, really simple miniature to paint. So, because I was looking at the other options that I was offering, and there was like too much, there really was too much texture, and you know, I really want you guys, based upon the progress that I've seen from some of you, I want you to be practicing the easy layering, right? Easy glazing, building color. And so doing it on cloth is so much easier, and this is such a classic mini with cloth. Like, we're good to go, right? I mean, this is gonna be very easy. You can see how crappy I varnished that, or primed that, but it's not gonna make a difference. But that was at least my thoughts behind it. So, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off with something easy. So let's work on the hat. Now then, I'm going to start off with a color pretty much close to 23. So for those of you at home watching, we're going for 23 first. So sort of that darker denim color, just a little bit darker than sort of a traditional denim. And for the interest of saving time, you can just slam it all over. We don't really care about the band in the middle because obviously we're gonna go over it again, so. But what I've always found, unless you're purposefully trying to create really high contrast on a miniature, if you're doing a light paint scheme, you never want to have a super dark tone. And so that's why I like starting with gray instead of black. That's why I like starting with sort of these mid-range colors, because it'll create a palette that works really well for us for the entire mini. And it will sort of, what's the right way I should describe it? The base point from which we're painting is going to be much lighter, right, and brighter increasing that lightness that's going to be produced from all the other stuff. So that's sort of the idea. And it'll be way more evident too as we move on. But like, we're not going to be doing any washes on this stuff. This is going to be straight up from the bottom to the top, highlighting our way, and should turn out awesome. This will be the first mini where I'm, you know, forcing you guys to just straight up highlight and blend. And it shouldn't be too hard. Again, this miniature is going to be super forgiving in terms of that. Very, very easy. So there you go. Very nice base layer. I wish I had a way... Oh, actually I can do that. So maybe we can experiment with this currently. So if you're ready, drop an emoji in the chat. If you've gotten your blue on, any emoji. Or just say good, right? Like whatever, just let me know you're good to go. The next color that we're going to be moving on to what are you talking about? The little palette? The little baby palette? That's going to be a separate video because I'll explain how you can practice and use that. The other palette that you got is for the paint along at the end of the month. So you should get one palette for this class, another palette for the other miniature, and then the little baby palette is just the extra practice tool that I'll show you guys how to use. So, but the next color that I'm moving up to is going to be, really I'm aiming for 18. I think it's going to be a little bit different than 18, but that's the color that we want. I think I need a little bit more gray in mine, but you want it to be a little bit more muted, but a little bit brighter. So, oh wow, a note taker. Very cool. You know, honestly, what's so interesting too about painting is that it is like practice, you know, will make you better. But honestly too, taking the time to think about what's going on with paint will really, really make you a better painter as well. Like sort of studying and understanding, being able to recognize techniques when you see people's paint jobs, things like that. Taking it sort of like at an academic approach of just trying to understand the nature of painting really, really helps as well. All right, so we threw on that secondary. Oh, it's all good. But it looks like Peter's painting with us. Is this a private painting? Is this like a private painting lesson for Peter right now? Yeah, so the little baby palette, I'll upload a video and it's gonna go into the just regular Patreon scholar group, and you'll be able to play around with it and kind of see the different options. So that's what that was for. Look at this great picture I took of myself. Isn't that really great? All right. So Peter and whoever else is actually painting right now. Now I'm moving up to 13. This is like the base color. This is definitely more of a denim color. Okay. Did you guys see Reaper post the image for ReaperCon 2019? It looks like the Sophie's actually like going to be doing an action pose with wielding a weapon and stuff. That's exciting. I will put a poll out in the Patreon group as well for people that are interested in going, because I've been told that the hotel is already booked. And while if I am allowed to teach, 4 classes or whatever, again this year, which I'm assuming I will, I don't know. I haven't heard from Ron literally since I sent him the link to the video. He literally never... he never replied or anything, which I thought was kind of weird, but whatever. But anyway, so if I'm coming back and I'm teaching, ReaperCon does offer me a free room, but I would have to share that room with a stranger, and I'm really not trying to mess with that, because that would be... Actually, I could share it with Mark. I didn't think about that. If I could do it with Mark, that'd be cool, but I don't know if he's coming back. I think he wants to, but you know how it is. That's quite a ways in the future, so you never really know what's going to happen. So the hotel's booked, and then if we have 8 people that say that they want to go, that's when we can go into the realm of a large Airbnb rental. And, it may end up being couple $100 a person for the entire weekend, rather than however much it was a night. I don't remember I remember I saw at one point how much those rooms were a night, but it's pretty costly. So, it may be pretty good, because I know that Kevin's probably going to come back too, then you two, and then Mark. So I don't know, because I think Mark possibly had to get his own room because his wife also came with him, right? That's the guy from Frozen Ninja. So if that's the case, we'll definitely figure something out, because I have played the Airbnb game so many times with my previous job, and it is seriously the absolute best way to book stuff for a bunch of people. So what I'm doing right now is I'm feathering in with the other colors that mid-range color, whatever number that is on the palette. So at number 13, yep. Now that we're to the point where we're sort of at the base non-shade color, I'm only really focusing on applying this where our light source is coming from, which is sort of just from, the front of this guy. Nothing too crazy, but we won't be focusing on highlighting it up past the front. So now we're moving into the realm of adding white to make it light. That is what's nice too, literally just black and white paint other than these base colors that we're using is really all you should need, which is cool. The rooms were close to 200 a night. Yeah. So, oh yeah, that's 3 people? 4 people? Yeah, and then possibly 5, and then including me, 6. So that could be, we could get a real big house with, honestly, it was how many days? 3 days. So booking a house for 3 days, which let's say maybe it's 500. No, it'd probably be 4. So it could be $300 or $100 a night. So it could cut the cost completely in half, right? If I'm doing the math correctly. So, and then if you book over one night, you usually get a discount. So we'll have to look, but Denton's a college town. A lot of people come in for, the football games, everything like that. So it could be pretty good. But that's what's nice about Airbnb, right? You can book, boom, the night before. So it's all good. You can also make adjustments. If we find a place that I think could work, right? Maybe a couple weeks ahead of time, and we have to add somebody or remove somebody, whatever, it's all good. And then the only money that you lose, right, is if you book a place and you have to cancel, you lose like the reservation fee or whatever, but that's not really huge. So, beyond the ReaperCon talk, I'm now mixing in up to number 8, which looks like about that. That's good. This, of course, is going to be light, so we're moving our way up, and we're going to feather it. I don't know if this is going to be too strong or not. Nope, it looks like it's good. But yeah, that's the thing about Airbnb. Like, you will save money, and Airbnb has been a really big issue for the hotel. Like, I was involved in the hotel industry when it first sort of hit the scene, and they all freaked out. I was on a Marriott property most of the time. Marriott, and like a 3-star Marriott hotel through just a like staffing agency that I was helping manage, and they were freaking out because they cut into their market by like 80%. It's insane the amount of business people would rather do on a service like Airbnb than staying at a hotel. And for a convention and everything, it makes sense, but like, because your stuff is easier to get there, whatever. But if we're sharing an Airbnb, that means the people with big cars, right? Because I'm going to be able to drive. So if you're flying in, I've got an SUV. If somebody else is driving around, like, we're going to have a vehicle. You're going to be able to transport the stuff. It'll be all right. I mean, I think that this is an idea that for sure could be a really, really good thing. So. And I'm doing another layer here. I'm just trying to make sure that we actually get it. We push it to that color. And you can tell already, right? Like, that's actually a pretty good deep color for a shadow, but it actually isn't really that deep compared to how much shadow we normally build when it comes to like using a strong tone wash or something. So this is definitely new territory, right? Haven't really had you guys work like this before. If I had to guess, I think the issue with most of you, so be cognizant of this. Pay attention to how much color transition you're letting show. I think the problem that I'm going to see from some of you will be not showing enough of that transition, so the effect won't be as apparent. But I do think those of you that did the non-metallic metal class, that definitely made you stronger in terms of being able to work with color like that. And then I think the paint-along miniature, for those of you that did that, I saw some progress on there beyond the normal non-metallic mini one. And then for those of you that also did the OSL. So I think you guys have been leveling up your skills. But just be very, very conscious, right, that if you're doing a low contrast situation, you want to be able to show as much as possible. Sorry, I don't know what this message is, but hold on. Sorry, a client just told me that they shipped stuff to my house, but they put my name on it, or they put their name on it instead of mine, which is unfortunate. Alright, so now I'm moving back up with a little bit more white added in. Think of it this way. See this line right here directly above his mustache? This is where the brightest, lightest version of this color is going to be. So you're going to be tapering that edge outside of that. That's where we want that feather to happen. See? Well, hopefully it gets delivered to me personally, because I know that the people in my office are literally going to be Like, I honestly think that they know what apartment I live in, but since it's addressed to somebody else, I guarantee you they're going to be like, no. Even though we know who you are, no. But luckily my UPS guy follows the Facebook page, so he knows exactly what I do. Oh, FedEx. Nice. Because they're going to be like, what's your last name? I'm going to be like, haha, my buddies. Awesome. Did you stream on Monday? No, I was finishing 2 commissions on Monday. I was just too busy. Like, I had to have a full day. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten something out on time, so. As much as I would love for the Monday stream to be a guaranteed thing, if it, like, normally streaming does take out of my workday. Like, there's no way around that because I have to sort of stop what I'm doing and then figure out what I can do on stream that makes the most sense, because there are just some things I don't like to show. Like, you know, I've talked about it before, like assembly line paint jobs or finishing minis or different things like that. Or like just doing base coating, whatever. So I do have to stop and take time, and then if I don't have anything that I can immediately show, I have to go and then prepare it before the stream. So if I can have a full workday like that, sometimes I just have to. So, but I think probably by next week my schedule will be opening back up again to where I'm not completely slammed, I'm not completely behind on stuff, and I'll be able to breathe. So, and then which means we'll be back to our normal sort of having fun on Mondays and all of that. But all right, so now you can see a lot better that transition to shadows. So we have our nice deep rich blues, boom, all the way up to this very nice lighter color, kind of like a sky blue. And then now I'm going to push that final highlight color, which should be a very light grayish blue on number 3. And I'm gonna go much thinner on this because since we've added so much white, it's going to be way more pigmented, so you have to be careful. Anytime you start adding white to colors, you need to remember that white is a powerful pigment. It will overpower anything that you're putting it on. So you have to thin it a little bit more than you normally would. You can see me applying it here, drying super, super, super thin, which is what you want. You can, you know, it's harder to move backwards than it is to add another layer of paint. But this looks good. You can see how much lighter that is right there. Look at that transition. You see how smooth that is? Look at that. I love it. So that should be what you're looking for. That's it. That's all we're doing with that. Our blue is done. Good job. I say that as I add a little bit more there on the shoulder. But I think, I mean, that right there, the line work on those folds on the top, which, by the way, shout out to them actually, you know, sculpting that, because that adds visual difference. That looks great. That's what you want. That's what we want. That's what we have. So good job. So there we go. We're moving right along. So, what should we do next? Let's go ahead and do... What did I say the back cape was gonna be? I know I said yellow for like the normal robe, but what about the back robe? Is that supposed to be gray? Whatever, we'll work our way through it. So, we'll go ahead and do a yellow, like a sandy yellow. So, the actual base color that I'm using is going to be a mix of a sort of darker gray, and with Reaper it's Palomino Gold, but I'm having to mix it down because I don't really have matching color exactly. I have stuff that's really close, really, from like every single brand. Like this desert color is really good, but it needs to be more yellow. This desert color, it looks way yellow on camera because I have to push the saturation, but it needs to be dulled down a little bit. So what you're looking for, right, is a number 22. That's where we're starting next, is somewhere in the realm of a number 22. Oh, I can mix it with this. Perfecto. I'm gonna mix it with some of this bone shadow. I think that'll actually give me exactly what I'm looking for. If not, maybe a little green. It's sort of tinted green, but I doubt it. All right, so aiming for number 22. Hopefully I can get a number 22. I think I can. Oh yeah, I can, actually. Adding some of that grayish brown produced that color perfectly, so. Nice. All right. So with 22, we're gonna start base coating all of this. Actually, this is closer to 17. I'm thinking when it dries, it might dry darker. If not, I'll darken it up a little bit more and we'll do another coat. I'm hoping it dries darker because there was brown in it. Normally browns dry a shade darker than when they're wet. If it's not, like I said, we'll just do it again. It's no big deal. It is drying a little bit darker right there, but it's still not saturated enough for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and push it down even further. Oh, yeah, okay. This is better. Right? Yeah, it's closer. Cool. All right, so this is good. Upper sleeve portion. So again, all the colors that we're using, all these darkest base colors should be close to the same tone. The color that we're working with right now is going to be oh, really? They showed this being done? That's really cool. But all of them should be close in tone, and that's what gives you an overall cohesive feel to a light paint job. Actually, this is close too in the way that Julie Guthrie paints, one of the staff painters for Reaper. She does a lot of like sort of lower contrast but high color paint jobs really, really, really well, which I feel like is a very American style. The hyper contrast stuff really you see more overseas in Europe, and like competition scale modeling painting and stuff like that. All right, so now we're moving up to more of a number 17, which for me is only a little bit of white added on top of the 22. And that's almost not even noticeable on camera, so. I'll increase it. There we go. Very nice. With this color, you do want to leave a little bit of the base color showing in the deepest shadows. But remember, we went 2 colors up before we were really pushing the highlighting on the blue. So we're following that same sort of formula. So once we move the color up two steps or whatever, that's when we're really only focusing on where that highlight would be hitting from the light source or sunlight. Because this color is going to be really, 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 really light by the time it's dry. Or not by the time it's dry, but by the time we're done with it. Alright, I think we're doing well. We're doing well. You can see that base shadow. So now I'm going to add a little bit, actually just straight white. And then it looks like there was a color shift over, so I'm literally doing like a pin drop, baby amount of black thrown in to shift it to a little bit more of a gray. But baby, I mean literally the smallest, like you're dotting an eyeball. Alright, and that'll get me close to 12. And 12 is going to be that base tone that we're working with to move up to our final highlight. Not final, well, yeah. Our final, like, uplighting, highlighting steps. Yeah, ReaperCon, it's really cool too because they have the sculptors there with their monitors set up and they're sculpting in ZBrush, so you can actually watch them live doing a process. And you can ask them questions and all of that. So I was wondering too how Reaper sort of operates in terms of its artists. Pretty much all of them but 2 are all freelance. And then they don't have any like staff painters, they just have, or they have one person that paints on staff, but I think that person is also, like, they have a different job role, I'm guessing, than just painting. Because everybody else, they just hire out. I don't think they pay a ton either. Well, they do pay a ton, sorta. I don't know. I don't really know what the market rate in the US is for box art, but because I know in Europe it's a ton, like a lot of money, way more than what other companies pay here in the US, but. All right, so you can see, going much lighter. So now we're moving our way up to 7. 7 really is more of just a super light brown, but what's interesting, I'm actually on the palette right now mixing white with that brown we were already using. Yeah, and it pretty much is the same as the other color. So we're just moving our way up to pretty much almost pure white, like a super fair skin tone color. Almost. Depending on the colors you're using. But with that brown mixed in, it should sort of go more of a really, really fair skin tone. Like a beige. Super, super light though, of course, like almost white. I'm really trying to pull the highlight in the same direction as his face, since I feel that that's probably the direction that you're going to view the miniature from, right? Everybody likes to look at faces, so from this angle, pretty good, but you want really all those colors to push right about there. Now I think I did mess up here, so I'm going to go back down a shade or two, try and fix it. Sucks because I've been highlighting up, so I gotta, there we go. I don't know if I can fix that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, I can. There we go. And then I'll just reapply the glaze on top. Okay. Only a slight heart attack there. Cool. On the back side, still highlighting up, but nothing too crazy. Right? I mean, that's not getting the same lighting as this angle, so. And finally, last but not least, now we're really pushing the brightness in this color. So this is like a really light bone color. This is a really light skin tone color. I'm just adding white. Sorry about that. I'm just adding white to directly mix in to get up to it. And just like last time, right, we added a lot of white, so you want to make sure you're thinning it much more to control what you're going to be dealing with. I did a bunch of airbrushing today and I didn't use the mask, so unfortunately I'm coughing. Every time I work without that mask, man, I can feel it. So, excuse me. Anytime it's primer. I don't know why. Like, paint's totally cool, but primer, it always irritates, like, my lungs and my nose. Not anything crazy, I just cough a little bit, but... Okay. I think I'm happy with where we're going. And you'll see too, we're gonna move back down with shadow at the end, but for now, we're just trying to color block it all in, and then I'll show you kind of the cheat trick, whatever, to make it happen. Let's actually do brown on that black cloak. I think that's probably going to be the easiest thing. I think it's going to help neutralize sort of the tones on those. So I'm going to get a good brown rocking. The color I'm actually starting with is closer to 16. I'm just going to add some black to it. But we're aiming for a number 21. As I literally punched the camera, sorry. There we go. Nice. All right. A little bit darker. There we go. Tonally speaking, this color is very, very close to the other base colors we've used, so should play nicely. Doing a couple coats on this, I'm not getting as good of coverage. Which is probably how thin I made it, which is fine. Yeah, Facebook Live today for myself and the guys over at Game Trade Media literally like would not connect. I could not get a Facebook Live connection today. Really, really annoying, but it's been a long time, knock on wood, since we've had a Facebook Live direct problem and not just like an internet problem, so I think their service is getting better, but I could not get a solid connection to their server, so I don't know if they were doing maintenance or what. But it wasn't just me, it was some other live streamers too. We're like, I can't do anything today, I don't know what's going on. Alright, cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and get in the shadows of that area with the same color. It doesn't really matter, but just so that way I'm not looking at it like, oh, did I skip something? Alright, so now I'm going back in with a 16. Much richer. Essentially what I'm doing is trying to push in those shadows as close as I can. I don't really want to leave this really harsh, so I will go ahead and try and feather that in. There we go. Just a little bit better. This isn't the darkest color, but it's close. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Looking good, looking good, looking nice. I like. All right, I'm gonna highlight up just a tad. Right there. Cool. Whew. All right, so now, you know what? I still don't like that. Hold on. I don't want that to be harsh. I want it to be that dark. I don't want it to be a harsh line like that, so... Hopefully that chills it out. I think I need a little bit more pigment right at that edge, right there. There we, yes. Oops, now I messed up and made it harsh down there. Oh God, what's going on? All right, cool. We're just gonna ignore that. We're gonna keep on moving up. So I'm gonna add just straight up white and a little bit of black. Or if you just have gray out on your palette, either way, but there's a little bit gray added in the next step in 11. So I'm gonna try and get close. Okay. Okay. Yep. Boom. Perfect. Now the back doesn't need to be crazy. What do you seal your minis with? This. Through the airbrush. I used to use regular Vallejo. And before that, by hand, it was the Army Painter Anti-Shine Matte Varnish. The brush on. What was funny, I know some of you guys might remember him. Do you remember that David guy that like was a commission painter and I pretty much told him he needed to leave the Patreon because he was asking me like business advice and then he got really butthurt about it and then he started up his own commission painting like for real business, and he's off, and I don't know. I won't like talk a ton of trash, but the guy was really whack. But I looked at his like commission information page, and he's charging people to do multiple coats of varnish. And he's like, I use this company twice, and then I use a different product at the end. It literally makes no difference. But what's funny is because he's a new painter, he's trying to talk about stuff that he doesn't necessarily understand. So like, he's literally putting 3 coats of clear coat on people's miniatures from 2 different companies that operate in 2 different ways. Really weird, but I saw that the other day and I was like, why on earth would anyone ever use multiple varnishes at the same time and 3 different coats of it at that? Like, whatever. But he sent me a really nasty private message where he essentially was calling me an asshole because I didn't want to... I mean, he was asking straight up business commission, like, how much should I charge? How do you seal your commission projects to make sure that, you know, they won't mess up at all? What do you recommend that I use for sealant? Which, any of you guys, like, I don't care. I know some of you too have, like, if you do a commission for your friends or whatever, that's all good. And even if you, like, want to start being a commission painter, that's fine, but don't get mad if I tell you that I'm not in the business of starting your business, which is directly verbatim what I told him. And he like tried to tell me how you know, gatekeeping is wrong, and how the more a rising tide, something all ships, floats all ships. I don't know, but essentially he was like, the more commission painters there are, the better it is for the industry. And I'm like, you are a moron, because that's not true. It makes it way harder. Like, you know, going to, like, literally I go to bed sometimes working on jobs at 1 a.m. and I wake up at 4 to continue working. Like, this is hard to do. So but that just reminded me, talking about all those varnish products reminded me of when I saw that, and I was like, okay, whatever, dude. It's like advertising that you're using acrylic miniature paint. Like, of course you're using acrylic paint. Like, I don't know. Just advertising something that doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Seems funny to me. But here we are, working our way up on this color. Now, obviously the cloak is in the back, so we don't necessarily want it to be really, really highlighted, because it's not getting the same highlighting work or light source right color. And it's just a different direction, because technically the light source is coming from here, so it would be hitting down there. So I need to increase the color on the edge on this side. Sometimes you got to think about that and be cognizant of where your highlights are. So there we go. That needed more love. And then I guess I'll do the backside too, even though it wouldn't make as much sense physically, but all right. So the other opposite side here of the fold. I'll do the same thing on this fold. Just because visually it needs it. Okay, now we're moving our way up, closer to a 6. This is going to be edge work. It's not going to be crazy. Yeah, you can look at his Facebook or his actual website, and it's like, I won't say anything, but you'll see what I mean whenever you see the pictures of him on it, so. I'll put it this way. It's like if I decided to rename my business Joshua Davis Mini Painting. I'll put it that way. That's not the vibe for me, so. But I had a conversation too with a friend earlier today. They were like, do you have any beefs with people? Like, is there any drama between painters? And I'm like, yes, there is. Little did you know. I have to fake being friends with some of them. Like, there's all kinds of weird politics involved because of, like, who has more clout in certain Facebook groups. So I have to be nice to people in order to be allowed to post in groups, even though there's no official rule saying that, like, I wouldn't be, like, it's very weird the way that they control stuff. Or, like the guy from Pirate Monkey Studio, I'll straight up tell you, at ReaperCon, he was extremely rude to me. Like, absolute jerk, completely. So that was a real eye-opener. Like, he would not give me... I was trying to be nice, trying to start conversation, and he just did not want to talk. Like, it was really, just really, really weird. And then I heard him talking shit on someone's painting entry. He was like, they did this all wrong. And he's, like, standing with, I guess, 2 people that are on his Patreon, literally, like, going in on another instructor. I thought he was talking about me for a minute, but then I, like, heard what he was talking about, and it wasn't any of my entries, but I was like, wow, man, this is how you... Okay, alright, like, that's cool. I'll remember that. That's fine. It's the guy that painted this month's Dungeon Dweller miniature. Totally rude person. Not a nice person. Very, very mean. Not nice. Sadly. Everybody else was cool, though. But that dude, I mean, I was sitting right next to him the whole time, and I was just like, wow, I can't believe how this guy is acting. It's crazy. All right, so we've really mellowed out these colors as well. You can see the palette is all nicely on the same tone. Check it out. I think I'm gonna do some edge work here. Pushing it all the way up to number 1. We've made it to number 1 on the palette, ladies and gents. Oh, and I love it when this song comes on. This is a good song. I like the vibe of this song. I like horns in any kind of hip-hop music. I don't know, it's just like... I think it has to do with listening to like a lot of Outkast as a kid growing up, because they always, like, the Dungeon Family and like Pharrell, like all those producers that made that music at the time, loved to include horns and brass in beats and samples. I just think it sounds so good. So I am, you can see it here, you really can't see it from this angle, but I am adding one final number 1 highlight on some of these edges here. Six people watching. Who joined us? Quick, everybody say something in the chat. I want to know who's here. Or maybe I do know everyone that's here. Brian, Jamie, David, Pete, or Peter. That's the first time I've ever called you Pete. Sorry, man. Peter. Who else is here? So we have 2 people creeping. We got 2 people creeping. Speak now or forever hold your macaroni. I haven't eaten dinner. I'm kind of in trouble. That means I'm not going to have anything to eat till like 9. Oh gosh. And then tomorrow night, I'm so excited. This game my friends and I have been playing called 7 Days to Die. They're finally releasing an update, but they're releasing it at 11 p.m. So like we're literally going to be up all night playing. So, all right. So on this side, you really shouldn't have a ton of contrast. Oh, it's Laura. Hi, Laura. She'll be up here helping me out tomorrow. Laura helps me prepare commissions. She's behind the scenes, behind the scene helper. Up. Nope. Come on. There we go. That was a little bit too wide. Go back in and fix it. There we go. All right, I'm happy on the cloak. Boom, 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 boom. This David Clearman? I think so, right? In the group, he's the guy, he always asks questions, I think, right? I'm pretty sure. No, that's Daniel, right? That's Daniel that shares a bunch of stuff? I mean, everybody shares stuff, I think. I don't remember. Okay, so how long? So we've been going for just over an hour. So I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. I need something to drink. So I'm gonna go stand up, stretch, whatever. So 5-minute break. I'll be back. We'll hang out. I'll let you guys catch up. I'll show you this real quick one more time. So before I bounce out for a quick break, a little 5-minute break. Here you go. Take one look here while you're working away. Oh, you're talking about, yeah. David, yeah, so, we have a lot of Davids going around here. So, yes, David Rodriguez is the, pirate monkey dude that was totally rude completely. But, yes, Dave Bach, yeah, commission painter. He was the guy that was like, what do you think I should do here? How do I do, yeah. But, and what's funny is, like, that's the point of the Patreon, but not when you're getting paid. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I'm wrong there, right? Like, to this day. Oh man, the Painting Happy Little Minis group is so funny. You know, more and more people are starting to come in there from other sectors of sort of the painting realm, like Vanessa Muse comes from the Tabletop Crafters Guild, which is like DM Scotty, Black Magic Craft, and they're a whole section of painters that do not believe in using real miniature painting tools. Like they only suggest using like Apple Barrel, cheap paint, cheap brushes, like it's all DIY stuff. I actually got banned from that group because they changed the rules saying that you can't share miniatures. You have to include terrain in your work. So it's interesting that she's branching out to more miniature painting. And what's crazy, if you actually look at the quality of their paint jobs that they do, like she got paid to teach a class at a convention like a week ago. And I'll leave that at that. You can do your research on that. But it's very interesting seeing people come into the Painting Happy Little Minis group, because I've been there literally since the day they opened it, which is, and I'm friends with Dave, I'm friends with Rick, right? Like, they all know me. But it's kind of funny that now more people are sort of infiltrating it for their own devices, especially that other dude that runs the Realmsmith TV. Whew, that guy is ripping some people off every month. God, man. That product they're putting out, that subscription box, it's maybe $50 worth of stuff that they're selling for at least $100 every month. I mean, it's amazing, but... Alright, so we're going to take a quick break, try and catch up. Here's the cloak for you one more time, and we're going to knock stuff out. We've got some gray left over, and then we've got the green, and then the rest will be details like skin and face. So, oh, and then the actual shadow contrast, which you'll see how I approach that once we get to that point. But for right now, I do think... Oh, Peter! Whoo, Peter, don't get me started on that person. Like, here's the deal. I'm really nice to him. I throw him extra work. I don't know why, but anytime someone comes to me with a project and I'm like, I'm not trying to mess with that, I'm like, you can go to my buddy over here. But he is the guy that I helped with some streaming information, and he 100% copied me down to the YouTube channel I used to play for music, so... It is what it is. But so what I'll say is, he did copy me, but he stopped streaming because he just couldn't keep up with it, right? Like, that's sort of the thing. You really have to make it stick if you're going to give it a shot. But it's funny. But you're right. Yeah. That's another one, Peter. That's a good eye on that one. All right, so that's where we're at. I love the contrast. This is perfect for the sort of the finishing steps with the shadows. And, yeah, I'm going to go take a break, grab a drink. It's funny. This feels like more of a traditional stream since we're sort of having fun talking, but... all of the colors are really sort of that same tone, and we're gonna be able to push them back and brighten them up if we need to with pure white at the very end. But I'll be right back. Hang out. I'm gonna mute this so you don't hear whatever, but I'll be back in about 5 minutes. So sorry, let's do like 8:25. Let's aim for 8:25. So learn to paint, get the dirt. All right, I'll be right back. Okay. I mean, I'm technically in Discord every single night. Like, every single night. But it's a different Discord. It's like with friends that I've known since I was like a kid, you know. But I am kind of surprised on that too. I think that's when we do the Monday streams, I'll be in Discord. I think that's what we should do, is like hanging out and doing all that stuff. So, all right, let's knock it out, man. Let's keep going. So for the green, what we said we were going to do some green gloves. That's ridiculously simple, but let's do it. So for this, you're going to want sort of that, nope. I thought I grabbed the right one. Nope. Where are you at? I had this color ready to go. All right, so you can tell with the number 25, that's sort of an olive green, but not really. Highlighted up with some simple white. This color, very, very easy. So what that means is you can probably take either of these colors. Nope, I'm a liar, sorry. You could probably take a color like this, add a little bit of white, maybe a little bit of tiny little bit of black if it doesn't look or feel right to you, and you'll get the same result. I'm going to experiment with this color first. I might throw in a little bit of this and some white to try and hit it, but should be what we're looking for. Man, so like I said, I didn't eat dinner like a classic idiot move that I always do, and now one of my neighbors is cooking something that smells absolutely fantastic, so it's all going great. I have a giant thing of spaghetti I made last night, though, like, you know, when you're trying to save some cash and you gotta make that multi-night meal. That's what I got, spaghetti. But shout out to my multi-night mealers out there. Not really getting the color that I was looking for. Oh, I think I got it. I added a little bit of black. That was the key. All right, so I'm starting off with a number that's close to 25, or with a color that's close to the number 25 on the palette. Sorry, that was funny. Close to number 25. Pretty much any of these colors that we're using, you just want them to be very similar in nature, right? To the same tone that we've been using before. That is sort of the best trick whenever you're doing a lighter paint scheme, especially if you want it to feel light, right? Like you don't want that super heavy, well, I don't have any super heavy high contrast stuff in front of me right now. But obviously, right, let's compare it to this. So if we were glazing color onto this, that contrast is bananas. Actually, this is a great example. All right, let's look at this real quick. I know you have wet paint, so I'll be quick, sorry. But, so look at this really quick if you're painting, look up. This, you've been used to seeing these colors, but look at it compared to real contrast that you normally paint with, right? This is much lighter in comparison. Much, much, much brighter. So that is sort of the direction that we're moving with it, right? You want it to be, from a base point, much lighter. So hopefully that kind of clarifies when you put it next to something super crazy dark. But now I'm going to add a little bit of white, move our way up to number 20. Oh, whoops. I forgot this glove. Welp. This glove's gonna be a little bit lighter, but it's okay. I mean, it's closer to the light source, so it makes sense, right? Classic. All right, now I'm adding the white. Or sorry, I added white moving up to number 20. And what's nice about what we're doing too, we're creating brighter colors that are not pastel. None of these are really pastel colors, right? And that's sort of the trick. A lot of the times when people start just highlighting up by adding white or something similar, the problem you run into is you start creating these like Easter pastels, and that's not what you want, because that means you're not showing enough transition from each stage in the color process. So, and yeah, to answer whoever said this a while ago about the color theory class, I think it was Daniel, right? So I do want to do sort of a real breakdown sort of color theory video, but I'll let you know right now, the rest of this month and all of December, I'm going to be dead, period, from the amount of work I need to do. So anything, like, I'm going to be hitting all the, crossing all my T's or whatever all the way across, but all my time's going to be slammed. So, because I want to do a class that is either live, so I want to do a live stream. You know what? Oh, Jamie, sorry. No, I think, I asked Daniel as well, because Daniel did a one-on-one painting lesson, and that I asked him specifically, I was like, hey, does it make sense? Like, would me explaining a lot of terms that I use be helpful? So, let's do it next week. You know what? There's no, we'll do it live. We'll spend like an hour. I'll make an event on the page. You guys will be able to holler at me and ask questions. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to make it live, and I will be here and available. I'll be explaining stuff, and I'll just sort of talk about like how I view color. I'm going to do a lot of here's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to do a lot of examples from art history. We're going to look at a lot of artwork and color. I'm going to show you where my color inspiration comes from. I've shown some stuff before. I'm a big fan of purchasing art books and being able to see, like, with the miniature painter's eye, when you're looking at classical art or you're looking at traditional art and paintings, sort of things that translate to miniature painting. And I think it's hugely beneficial. I think it's really, really good for you. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to knock that out, because in my head, it's like, I don't know when I'll be able to do that for you, but you know what? We're just going to do it next week. Period. It's going to be at night. We'll do it at 7 p.m. again. I don't really care. It'll be archived. Don't worry. It'll be online. And that's what it'll be. I'll just sort of break down what I mean when I say certain words, and how that all interacts with each other, and then how I view and describe things. So that's what we're doing. No excuse in time or whatever. I'll put it this way. And I've been saying this to some people recently, and it's really true. Something that as I'm getting older and I'm sort of evaluating my life and just thinking about, mental health, or stress or anxiety, or responsibilities, being a good friend or family member, or it's one of those things, like, I really wish I could meet more of you in person, because I think you would kind of see how I am. Like, you guys really do sort of know how I am as a person, because this is how I am as a person. I cuss a lot more, like a ton in real life, nonstop, but in a very conversational way. And so on stream, I try and keep it toned down, obviously a little bit more, keep it real PG, family friendly. So that's really the only difference between me in real life and me on the stream. But other than that, like, you guys really know who I am as a person. And one thing I've been working on, I think it's really important, to me at least, that if someone is looking forward to something that involves you, you have to care about it and you have to try, right? So for me, it's like, well, I don't necessarily have the pressure of a client, like, needing a commission, right? So, like, they're not going to die or lose their house or not be able to eat if I'm late on a commission. But what I need to be cognizant of is that they are excited and looking forward to when I'm finished. The same thing is true with the streams. I know that you guys that watch every day do look forward to it, right? It's a part of your day, and it's something that people come and do, and they hang out and they talk and whatever. And so I always try and remind myself that, and doing anything that I can for family members, friends, whatever, that they look forward to hanging out the next time we talk, the next time they see me, someone having that feeling of looking forward to something because it makes you happy once that's fulfilled. That's sort of what I'm focusing on. So when it comes to thinking of events for you guys or anything like that, like, I'm always really conscious of it. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to make time. I don't know if I'll be able to do this, do that, whatever. And then sort of like literally what just happened, it's like, well, you guys are talking about it. And literally you said looking forward to it. So let's just do it, right? Like, if you guys are looking forward to something and I don't know when I can fit it in, I need to make sure I can fit it in. So we're going to do it next week, right? Like, to me, that's really important. I've been trying to work on that just as a person, like, really just trying to make people happy. Not in, like, a people pleaser way, because that's not healthy, right? You never want to be doing that. But anything else beyond that, tied to the business or whatever, it's more so about you when it comes to Patreon and not me, right? Making you guys happy allows me to get the extra income, so I don't have to worry about necessarily as many commissions every month and everything like that through the money from Patreon. So I really do appreciate it. And that's kind of where I'm at with all of that. So here's where we are with the green. You can see that right here. Really, really light. I might push that even further. You're going to see towards the end too, we'll mess with some direct white, but let's go ahead and do the undercolor. Like the underrobe and his sleeves. Literally, I'm just going to slam in a dark gray. Darkest color on the gray on the palette, whatever number that is. What is it? It would be 10? Oh, I'm stupid. 24? Wow, why did I think it would be 10? Which one is 10? That's way off. Okay. Wow, all right. I'm sure at some point I'll be able to number them without looking at the palette. So I'm going for number 24. We're keeping it really neutral. This is another good beat. I like it whenever it comes on. I like any kind of like music that's really big, right? So like I like big band stuff. I like Motown, 70s, 60s, soul music that had like a ton of people on stage. Anything that has a really big sound to it, I really, really, really love. Alright. Layered in that dark gray. Is that a pant or a part of the boot? I think that's a part of the boot, so I'm going to ignore that. I mean, we're barely going to highlight that gray up in general, so we'll highlight up a little bit. We'll go up like one step. I included all those steps in the palette because I didn't know where we were going to apply the color regardless. Obviously, you guys can use it as a color reference later. So now I'm going to just throw in a little bit of this 19 on the edges of the arms and everything. I don't want to blow this out very much because I do want it to just be dark and dull. It's going to help us kind of tie together the palette color. Or sorry, the overall color scheme. It'll help those colors pop since this is just straight up neutral. Alright, I mean, that's subtle. That's pretty much all I'm looking for. Just a little bit of a shift in color. A little bit of hint of hickory, you know? Like you're making some barbecue, just a little bit of touch. Enough of a change that people can notice it. Alright. Boom. You can see it. You can see the transition. Just real, real light. A working man with a working job. You know what we haven't had in a long time, and I kind of want one to show up again? Someone to come into the stream and say, I need to get a real job. You guys remember that? It's happened like a couple times off and on. I know some of you have seen it before. I can't wait till it happens again though. I'm gonna literally go all in. We're gonna pull up. Ooh, I'm gonna like I wish I could dox somebody, like pull up their profile. I could like pull up their profile on the stream and just ridicule them like as they're watching, but I have some other ideas in mind that will really kind of humble the person that's watching, so. But this is, you know, this job has been really, really interesting. I've had a lot of experiences already. I'm not old, you know, I'm almost 30, which is literally nothing. Like, I'm gonna live to 60 for sure. I'm probably gonna live to 90 for sure. So turning 30 is nothing. Like, that's not even half my life, right? But it is my whole life up to that point. But this job really, I've had a lot of crazy work experiences, especially in IT, working with people that are getting paid like $35,000 a month, like these super rich people that are just miserable. They hate their lives. They're alcoholics, right? They're just struggling to cope with whatever problems they have. And what was really interesting was working in those environments. You know, it's very easy to get screwed over by other people or blame problems that happen on people that are problematic in general, right? This really made me grow up because, and I've done freelance work individually before, but this is so much different because the client isn't involved like at all. I've had a few bad clients, you guys know about it, but beyond that, like this literally has made me like wake up and realize like you are the only person that's gonna ruin what's happening. You are the only person that's gonna grow what's happening. Like, you know, it's been more than just painting. I'll put it that way. This has been really, really good for me. In terms of sort of a perspective change, and it's kind of helping me grow as a person. So if it ever just goes away, which I don't think it ever needs to, even if I have to just stop and get a different job, like if something happens in my life, I'll still be here like every night, right? Like I will always be here. This is something that I can do forever. So, but it's been really rewarding. I really love it. All right, boom. That's it for the palette. You know what that means? We're free. We're home free. So what you want to keep in mind on the rest of the miniature, you do not want to go deeper in color than the rest of our palette. Also, does this, Jamie, whatever, dude, be quiet. Like, the only reason, so, one thing that I'll say, right, I have been painting miniatures since I was 8. Yeah. Yeah, 8. That's what my mom says. So, I mean, like, I have been doing this so long that when I started doing it as a business, it seemed so natural, right? So the same way that someone's been doing their job for 20 years, sort of has a different outlook on life when it comes to painting. Like this has always been the thing that I have done to escape my problems, to relax, right? All of those different things. And I suddenly realized it's what I should try and do for a living. So, I really like it. Fess up. Turned 40, that's nothing, dude. Like, I can't wait till I'm 30, because all my friends, once they turn 30, are like, life gets so much easier when you're 30. Can't wait till I'm 40. I can't wait till I'm 70. Are you kidding? Like, at least people of my generation, I can't wait to see them when they're old. I know probably half of them are going to want to be dead already and just not be happy with life, but I'm going to be the dude that's 70 listening to like the music that's coming out every day, still being really on point with social stuff. I'm going to be dressing crazy. Like, I know I'm going to be having a great time when I'm old, so. All right, I am going to attack the beard, and you know, let's just do a straight up white. Like, we have not pushed white on the white and light color class, so let's do it. I'm gonna go with a really light gray first, almost the primer color. Let's actually start a little bit darker. I'm gonna go with sort of a, kind of like a gross brown underneath. Similar, so I'm looking for something similar to 11 on the base here. We'll do the skin later because literally he has a tiny bit of skin, so we can do the beard first. I don't think it's going to interfere. But we're going to push this beard straight white. Like, boom, 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 white, white, white. My grandmother turned 97, I believe. And like she's popping. Like the doctor said, you're gonna break 100 easily. Like she is good to go, right? And knock on wood, emergencies aside, right? Like she's in good health. She's fine. And I was asking her a bunch of questions, just sort of, because she was like really reflecting, like she's gonna hit 100. She's really into it. Like she's determined to hit past 100. And I was asking her all these questions, like, do you have any regrets when you think back about what you've done? Like, because she literally has seen so much happen in her lifetime, right? Because when I told her what I do for a living now, it like blows her mind that I interact with all you guys, that I get clients from overseas, right? Like this to her is just so amazing that it's possible. Because she came from Canada, or she came from Norway to Canada on an ice farm, pretty much, right? And what she told me, I was like, do you have any regrets, or do you have anything that, looking back, you're kind of like, I wonder what would have happened if I had done that instead, you know, growing up? And she was like, no, I literally have done everything I ever wanted to do, regardless if people said, like, that doesn't make sense or you shouldn't try it. And that to me was like, and she said that there are people younger than her that are like in their 80s at like, you know, community center or wherever she goes to hang out, that are like so done with life. And she's like, honestly, I don't want to be around any of them because they're not excited to be alive anymore. And I'm like, I'm happy, I'm around, you know? So hearing that from her really, really sort of put things into perspective that like, you gotta be happy. You gotta make other people happy. You know, getting old is awesome. You know, like you should really be like, this being old, right? Like you've been around, people can't really tell you anything, right? You know how it goes. Like you can just say and do what like, it's great. It's like a liberating thing to kind of embrace your age, you know? But talking to her, and she's like, I don't want to be around these old people that are complaining, man. I'm trying to live past 100 and all that. Yeah, seriously, like, that's what's crazy is even people that are 55 and hitting 60 can do amazing things with their life. Like, it's so stupid. Everything is so much different now than what we traditionally would have thought, right? In terms of age and all of that. Like, everything is so much different. I don't think age necessarily matters other than physical health limitations with stuff. Alright, so now that that's dry, we're going to start pushing this color up a lot. Actually, I'm switching brushes. I'm a dum-dum. If you've only been painting for 2.5 years, you're doing great. Period. Do take your time on this. I am doing pretty much all implied highlights, so while I am hitting some of these strands of hair, I'm also picking out and choosing other ones to ignore. Oh, I'm still in Discord. Uh-oh. Hey Rex, I'm in the middle of a live stream. Sorry, I forgot I was in Discord, so... Yeah, it's the Patreon monthly class. So I will be back in, oh, well, about, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so I'll see you.
I should still be on.
That's funny. I forgot about that. I do think, too, probably within the next 50 years or so, we're going, you know, I think we're going to be, as just humanity in general, we're going to have to face the question of not if you're going to die, but when you would like to. I think we're going to hit something eventually here that is either very much so like Enter the Matrix style, and it'll be for sure focused on capitalism. Like, yeah, you can live forever for free, but you got ads, right? And you can pay if you don't want to see this, that, or the other, right? Or I think we're gonna hit some type of aging treatment, cell treatment, right? Something that allows us to really dramatically extend our life length, I guess. Because that's the thing, like we really weren't meant to ever stay around that long, right? Because our cell structure will break down, but I think something will come along to where it's like, you know, either extend us all by 50 years, or you can just keep living forever like a skeleton shell, whatever. But I think that'll be entertaining to kind of see where we go with that, with our old age. I'm just using the side of the brush on the ones in the back. These hairs don't really matter, you know, whatever. Just pick a couple out. The color I'm using right now is really close to sort of like an ivory color. Not really pure white, not really like bright, bright. Yeah, some of the stuff they're doing right now with heavy stem cell dosing on like car injuries and stuff, which in the U.S. they can only do limited work, but they are passing legislation that's going to allow people to do heavy treatment. But like in South America, I forget which country, one of the countries in South America is like the leading, like they are the official most advanced in terms of like this crazy stem cell treatment where essentially they flood the body with billions of these cells in an area. So like, let's say you lost mobility completely in your arm in a car crash. They will pump billions of these cells inside of you for like weeks, or like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, every day. And it will push your cell rigidity back like 30 years. Like you are producing super young cells. So I mean, with that happening already, we're going to be faced with a moral dilemma of how long do we really want to be around. And in general, like our planet can't sustain that, so that also raises a bunch of other questions, like how are we eating, how are we providing that much food for people, where are they living? Like that's going to become a huge problem too, when being able to live for a long time becomes a luxury on the sole fact that other people won't be able to do it, right? Like that's going to be really weird as well. So, like, imagine a presidential race where people are arguing about their policy ideas for being able to live forever. Yeah, kind of like altered carbon as well. That's a cool idea. Where they keep pulling you out. Even though morally speaking, the altered carbon idea of like being able to purchase somebody essentially, like that's. I don't know if that would ever, I mean, I feel like the way that like just society progresses as a whole in terms of rights and stuff, I don't know if that would ever really happen, but I remember when I first started watching that show, I was like, oh, this is a definitely crazy concept. I like it. It's cool. Alright, so not the best on the hair, but I think, you know, blowing the hair out to all white like that's probably a good idea. You guys know how I feel about big, thick, individual strands of hair. It's not really my favorite, because you get forced into less implied and more direct, which, in my opinion, never works as well. Implied always works better. I think it just makes everything look better, but it's okay. Obviously, in ZBrush, it's hella easy for them to sculpt that way, and I think that's why less people are doing more implied stuff, because they're like, well, I can literally sculpt every piece of hair. And it's like, well, alright. Do you, boo-boo. Alright, so we're gonna let that rock, that's fine. He's got a bedroll on his back. I'm gonna make it purple. How about that? Was that terrible Justin Timberlake movie? No, and I actually don't know what movie... What? Justin Timberlake, was he in a sci-fi movie? Somebody correct me on that one. But no, this show is like, it's on Netflix, right? I think, or is it on Hulu? I don't remember which. It's pretty cool. Actually, I also don't know, was it a show that like was on TV? Was it on like Sci-Fi originally or something? I don't know. I haven't had TV in forever, so. So I'm first gonna lay down a purple equivalent in terms of saturation, close to like, well, I'll show you right here. So sort of the same amount of saturation as like 13 maybe, or 22, so quite a bit of pigment, but not that dark. We wanna keep our colors consistent, so. Cool. Add a little bit of white. You know the routine. We're just moving our way up with these colors. I'm starting to have a heartburn because I haven't eaten. Oh man, I have terrible acid reflux all the time. Like even if I take medicine for it, it just never stops. And since I didn't eat, now I'm gonna start coughing because the acid reflux makes me cough. So I do apologize. I should take better care of my health, but you know, I'm doing the best I can, man. At least I know why my body's falling apart in some instances here. Alright, I'm gonna go up another step. This will be the last step. This is gonna be a really light color, kind of like number 9 or 14. Oh, sorry. Actually, it's like number 8 in terms of purple. So just imagine a number 8 but purple, and that's where I'm headed with this. Much brighter. It's pretty much a pink, but it'll still look purple wherever we apply it. Yeah. So like just on the edges, you see that right there. Nothing crazy. Side of the brush. Okay. Alright, so what do we got? We got some weapons, we got some bags, we got some stuff like that. So I'm gonna knock out a brown. I'm just gonna use this as the base, this oiled leather, so like a really cool whatever. Altered Carbon was awesome. This movie was... I very, very vaguely remember that, actually. Huh. Or maybe it's both. Am I wrong? Was it a movie and a TV show? But why would they have Justin Timberlake? I'm confused, but it's alright. All right, this may be too bright, but I'm thinking it'll be okay. I mean, that is pretty bright, actually. I don't know if that's gonna be okay, but whatever. Oh, I'm gonna do the shoes the same color. We will be washing at the very end, but sort of going into the shadow areas, and the wash itself is going to be very, very subtle. So, if you have Army Painter Light Tone, that's what I'm going to be using. But I'm going to show you how you can make a wash that'll work the same if you just have paint, right? Actually, that's what I would suggest in general is, I don't know why they made that rock so weird on his foot, but anyway, I'll show you how to make it out of paint, like how I do most of my washes anyway nowadays. Like, it's so weird that I've moved away from rocking out on stuff. But the light tone's what I'm going to be using, but it's going to be easy to replicate. Okay, so now I'm just going to straight up add some white, like we've been doing. Keeping it easy and greasy. I love the fact that we've been able to create contrast like this, but the tones are all the same. I mean, I might be insane, right? But like, I'm right? Like, this is much different contrast than what you would traditionally see. Look at how light overall. Like, this feels like a Disney character or something. I've got to have a miniature around here, right? That, like, I've just painted on. Oh, well, duh. Let's compare it to something like this. You can see how much lighter it is. That's kind of the whole focus, right? And depending on what you're painting, you can employ this to do, like, moods. Like, painting lighter will help you tell a story with your miniature that you may have not been able to do if you were just painting traditionally. If something is like a cleric or something really good or pure, right? Like a good guy, not a bad guy. Whenever we do the painting black and dark colors class, in time, there you go, I remember that. When we do that, we'll paint like an evil character, and you'll be able to tell how the vibe is so much different on a miniature based upon how much contrast is applied and the color choices that you use. With these down here, it's all good because we're just going to heavily apply our wash on the feet and everything, so I'm just kind of trying to give it color. Okay, and then I guess his staff is also brown. It looks like it's made of wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same brown, but I'm going to sort of gray it out a little bit with some black and some white thrown in, so you'll see it here. Actually, I don't even have enough of that paint out on the palette, so I need to just fix my life. There we go. And then it looks like we've got like a dagger, a book, some scrolls. Oh man, the indigestion. The heartburn's killing me. You know what's crazy too? I used to just assume that like everyone knew what heartburn was and it was something that everybody experienced, but I've had some friends that are like, I've never had it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, wow, that's crazy, dude. Because it's pretty awful. But I did think it was just sort of something everybody had occasionally, you know? And then in my instance, it's like constant. But I think I have like a stress ulcer. I don't know. Something not good. I'm going to leave the staff like that for now until I apply a wash. I don't really know how far I want to push it. I will use the same brown for the inside of the book here, the pages. And then I'm just going to heavily up, like, you'll see right here what I'm going to do. Where's my, there it is. Just going to go in there in the middle. Whenever it gets hit with a wash, it'll make sense. So, I don't really know what color to use for that, so let's just do a... we haven't touched red at all in this whole paint job, so I'm just going to straight up use a red. I'm going to use this Phoenix Red, which is a crazy, crazy color. Wow. 6 people have watched this entire time. That's pretty cool. It's fun when you guys can make it live. I'm going to add the Phoenix Red, actually, into a brown. So I can make a really, really reddish brown color. Or orangey brown. There we go. For the outside of the book here. Look at that. It actually looks, unfortunately, like that same brown color. How stupid. I thought we were going to have a different color there, but it's alright. We're just going to lay some color on it. Oh, yeah, no, that's more saturated. Alright, I couldn't really tell from the angle I was looking at. Highlight the edge. Good enough for me. I know that the oh, look at that hair. Thanks, Arthur. I know that the wash will help that out too. All right, then we have scrolls. Scrolls, easy peasy. Just parchment color. I want that to be a little bit darker. There we go. I was a little bit messy there underneath the arm, but I think the wash will correct any mistake that may have caused potentially. I'm not going to touch that either. I want that to be a direct wash. And then we have the dagger and the sheath and all of that, so I'm just going to kind of make like a darker gray, I don't know, brown. For the handle, throw that on. Cool. I think that's probably something that's metallic, and then I think that's metallic. So I'm going to add a silver and a bronze. Where's the weapon bronze? Actually, let me use this for that, and then this for this. Sorry. Punching the camera. Okay. Okay. Using the same bronze on the staff. Okay, and then I'm going to use this Sparkling Amethyst. I've never used this color, but it's one of the Reaper sort of like colored metallics. I'm assuming it's a metallic purple. Yeah, what a cool color. All right. This is actually going to be the darkest thing on the miniature. How funny. And I'm going to do this on the orb. Look at that. Wow, okay. Hopefully that doesn't mess up our vibe, but I think it should be okay, because this is obviously a magical item of sorts, I would assume. We can highlight it up too with the metallic if need be, but you can pick whatever color you want. It's also a good miniature that you could do OSL with if you really wanted to fight it, so. Now, I still have the skin, but what I'm going to do is just an overall wash. And I think the skin should sort of chill out and do its own thing. But where is light tone? I need the light tone wash. Now, I've got dark tone, I've got soft tone, I've got strong tone, I've got strong tone, and strong tone and light tone. Okay, wow, so many bottles. But yeah, so this is the light tone. You can see they're showing it as like this sort of warmer color. And it's sort of a very subtle darker brown, but I mean that in more of like a coffee with a little bit of cream brown, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna grab one of these cups. I'll put it in the cup. You guys have seen me use it before, but just so you can see it again. Is it clogged? I don't want it to explode. I think it's clogged. So I'll pour it out. We're doing a lot of it anyway. So you can see it's a really rich color. So it's like coffee with a little bit of cream, right? I'll apply it here on the thumb. Almost like a gravy color, right? But you can make the same thing with a watered down brown. Something close to, so let me look at my paint colors. Ah, yeah. So something saturated, something saturated like this with a little bit of red and black, or something deeper like an oak brown. All of my browns are actually at a separate area because I've been using them for a different project completely, but or something like this. Sorry, I'm literally hitting this boom arm every time I reach back there. Or something like this, watered down as well. But let me apply it to the miniature before you guys start doing your own thing, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about with it in terms of its application. Because this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. So, we are not going to do our traditional all over. Oh, that's the color that you blew out. Oh, okay. Rest in peace. But what I'm going to do is put it on the face like this, and the mouth like that. Right underneath the brim of the hat. You see what's going on here. You see that contrast? This is what we're doing. We're not going really dark. We're going saturated. So it's going to go on the hair like so. We're going to do it around the brim, or not the brim, but the strap. It's going to add a really, really subtle shadow there. I'm going to completely dump it all over everything in his arms. So all this is getting a heavy dose of it. This can be a total all over wash. I don't really care about any of that. Because remember too, we didn't highlight some of these because I wanted to see how they dried in general with this wash, because that'll kind of dictate if we need to highlight up. And then I'm going to apply it really heavily on the boots, the underside of the cloak, the sleeping bag can get it. But do be careful. I'm using a brush that's probably too big for some of the detail stuff, so I'm going to switch brushes here in 1 second. You can see how we're applying it. Now, luckily, this dries a lot more subtle than what you're seeing applied now, because this looks really, really, like, red, but it doesn't dry that way. It chills out. Okay. Underneath the hand here. Essentially, right, like we're used to just blasting wash all over everything, but this is different. We want to use the wash to accentuate our shadow and not lose the color work that we've applied, because that will destroy the overall light tone. Haha, see what I did there? It'll destroy the overall light tone that we've created on the miniature thus far. So I'm applying it all the way in the middle part on the gray. That can be a lot darker, that's fine. I'll do it all over the gray that we did on the sleeves in general. Those can be darker. Bottom part of the hand here, all over, very thick, the staff. Again, on the bedroll. Pretty much anywhere where we have either two colors connecting is where you're going to want to apply this, or anywhere where there would be shadow. And I can see it drying already. It's super, super subtle. It looks like I accidentally got a pock mark there on the hand, but I can fix it. Thankfully. Nice. All right, paint to water ratio if you're making your own. Well, let's make some. I got another one of these little doodads here. So, this is a used one, but it will work. I'm gonna go with this mahogany brown. Come on. So about that much mahogany. I think I had said some, well, no, that's not. I made a mistake. A little bit of black. So sort of like a color like that. Okay. And then one full big brush. So, sorry, I keep slamming the camera. Sorry, guys. One big brush full of water. Because you want to see it sort of pull away from where you're moving it around, and it's not doing that yet. So I'm gonna add one more brush full. And now it's pulling away. So we've got some body to this. You can see it, right? Like moving around. You see the reflections on the edge of the brush. That's how you know you've got a lot of body in that wash. So I would probably prefer this to be a little bit darker, to be honest with you, but this is just an example. Well, I'll go ahead and make it, I'll try and fix it here. I'm just gonna keep adding a little bit of black over and over until I get it to where I want it. I think that actually is pretty good. So it needs to be thinned out more. I'm gonna add one more full brush, so now it's a 3-to-1 ratio. And do I have something here I can just throw it on? I don't think I do. Oh, yeah, we can do it on this. All right. We'll do it on the back. Yeah, so that's pretty good. This is the kind of consistency that we're looking for. So yeah, like a 3-to-1 ratio. You'll be applying more of it most likely after it dries, depending on how much you actually want to see. But this is pretty much what I'm looking for. We don't want to glaze, we want to wash. So 3-to-1, if that helps. Maybe 2-to-1, depending on the size of your brush. But that's sort of how you make your own wash, is about a 3-to-1. At least that's how I do it. And this looks like it's actually a little bit thin, but for what we were using it for, right, for specifically going into the nooks and crannies, it's perfect. But you can see how this is starting to dry, especially on the back. Perfect. Yeah, check this out. So we have these subtle shadows and separations. Obviously, when the front is dry, it'll be a lot easier to sort of comprehend, but you can see on the beard and everything, we don't want it to go too crazy. I have a USB powered fan right here that I can just turn on. We're gonna dry this guy. Look, it says fan C. Ha ha ha. See, it's a fan. I got this on Amazon. I don't know if you guys want me to add it to the store so I can link it to you, but it's literally just a USB fan. Touch controlled off and on, 2 power settings. Really, it's just 2 computer fans inside of a shell, so kind of funny. But it gets the job done. Two hours and 20 minutes, nice. Hopefully it's not getting too late for you guys. Alright, so I'm gonna let that hang out. There we go. You can see it's starting to dry a lot more. That's good. That's about as much of a depth of contrast as I want. I'm gonna throw in the skin tone really quick. Simple pimple. Nothing crazy. I trust all of you can throw some skin on. Damn, I need to clean my brushes bad. Alright. Since the wash is there, literally all I need to do is just highlight the facial features. What was that? Alright. Then I'll wash it down again. But literally, there's only so much of that face that's even being shown. Like, not the best face I've ever seen, but I think what I'll do is I'll just do it one color, and then I'll just apply that Vallejo face wash, because we don't need it to be fancy. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is some direct, very thinned down white highlights to help pop that contrast back up one more time. So right on the brim of the hat. Like so. Scrolls. Nope. Applying too much on the scroll. And what I'm applying is so thin that it's just going to sort of look like a highlight. It's not really going to be white. It's more of like a glaze that I'm using for an edge highlight. Oh, what are you? What is that ugly color? Well, fix that. There we go. Get off of there. We didn't invite you there. Whip, 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 whip. Getting a little reckless here. Sorry. Don't want to ruin the paint job right at the last literal second. That wouldn't be good. Alright, so beyond refining details, because we are pushing 2.5 hours here, and I still haven't eaten anything, so I'm dying. But don't worry about me. This is about you. beyond finalizing details, I think we've gotten it to where I want you guys to be. So I'm just gonna throw in that skin wash here real quick. We'll let that dry and just handle its own life on its own. That'll be cool. But, so painting with white and light colors, I'll probably clean this up a little bit tomorrow and then I'll take a picture and upload it to the curriculum section. But that is the overall idea here. So let me know in the comments, right, if this concept has made sense to you. Traditionally when we paint, you know how I do it. We're moving from very dark colors, right, to sort of that push to a highlight. When you want to paint light, you don't go dark. You start light, right? And you can tell the overall vibe and feel is so much different. So these were a lot more pastel. The Patreon Plus paint along that we're doing are going to be more like neon colors being pushed. Only because the miniature is a fairy and it's magical, whatever. With a wizard and a robe and everything, I don't really think it's necessarily... depending on the outfit, like this dude, the pastel sort of made sense. So that's kind of what we went with. But again, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more on the details and everything. But overall, I'm hoping that this does illustrate sort of the difference in painting, right? You're starting from a much brighter space to create this overall feel. Because like that's the thing too. If you were going to ask somebody to describe this miniature, they're not going to assume it's a bad guy. You know what I mean? But since you did just say that, actually this will help illustrate even better. So I'm gonna just paint the base black, and that'll make all those colors pop as well. Because remember, anytime you paint a base black, you're really gonna see what kind of contrast you're working with. And I just tried to apply the wrong paint. This is not my black paint. That is Styronez primer. My bad. This is black paint. My cheapo black basing paint from Hobby Lobby. Love it. Really high pigment. This is the Delta Ceramcoat stuff. Delta Creative. So whatever kind of base you've done, I'm just going to paint this black because it's going to make the color pop. Like so. Now we've really got some real contrast. You can see how much brighter it is. But yeah, I think if anybody looked at this, they wouldn't assume he's a bad guy, which is sort of the overall feel, right, and vibe that painting much lighter will give you. And this also is a good example, right, of how to use a brighter color to create better contrast depending on what you're looking for. Like, I feel like the hat is really successful in painting a sky blue, but that's more to the story than just the overall look and feel, right? So there's a lot of stuff here that you can end up using and practicing for different reasons. But especially when you put it next to that black base, you're really picking up a lot more of that brighter, lighter feeling. So I really like it. I think it worked out pretty well. I mean, I can obviously go push it back, but beyond trying to keep this within 2 hours, right? That's pretty much as good as I would be able to do for 2 hours painting a whole mini. Especially since we literally didn't do an all-over wash. We did not start from black or dark, and we just used it like that. So, I like it. So again, this is going to be in the unit section. You can obviously reply. Well, actually, so let me see really quick. Hold on. Let me copy the URL. Oh, it's already in the unit section. I'm sorry. So yeah, you can go ahead if you want. Take a picture of what you're working on. Right now, I'll wait, and I can give you a direct feedback. Go ahead and post it in the comments under the class stream link. And then tomorrow when I upload the picture of this after I clean it up, that's where you can start posting your work. So feel free to dump it. I'll give you a minute to hop back over to Facebook if you want to. So if you want to do that, just go ahead and do it. Wow, Laura, you hung around that entire time? How are the cats? How's Hannah? How's the pig? What does the pig do in the winter? Is he cool? How does that work? Laura's got a giant cuddly boar in her backyard. Not a boar, a hog. I don't really know. Yours isn't primed yet. All right. Well, I guess who was actually painting along? Peter? Yeah? Peter? You want to show me a picture? Ah, he did. All right. Let's look at Peter's work. All right. All right. Let's check it out. I saw a preview of it. Boom. All right. Yeah, I love it. So, I think that your darks are as dark as they should be. I think you're good there. The only thing that I'm gonna suggest, and when I post my miniature picture, you're gonna be able to tell, it's sort of increasing or doing more direct, like, work on edges. I think what we need to do is figure out a way to do an edge work class or exercise. There's got to be something that we can figure out that will work to do edge work. Unfortunately, that's something that you can't practice on anything but miniatures. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to look on Miniature Market and the Black Friday clearance, and I'm going to see if there's something that I can buy that's like bulk, or if there's something on clearance that they have 20 plus in stock of, maybe, right? Like a $3 mini or something. And maybe we can work on edge work. Or I'm going to find something that's not a miniature at all, but is like a pine cone or something stupid. And we can practice on that. But I think that's going to really help you guys out because, like I said, Peter, your stuff, like your mini that you have right now, your darks are good. The lights you could still push up more, right? Like the transitions a little bit more, but that obviously is... You'd have to work back. You'd have to try and grab some of those same colors previously. You do have the palette, so you can work off that. So sort of increasing the contrast there. So like looking at yours, and I don't know if other people are looking at the picture too that you just posted, but you can tell that I have a little bit brighter brights, right? Like I'm about one step. So on the cloak itself, or on the robe, I'm like one step brighter. On the blue, we're pretty much even. On the green, one step brighter. But that's pretty much it, right? Like on the face, on the hair and everything, you're pretty much there on the beard. But it's just more, you know, line control and things like that. So I think the color theory stuff we can definitely focus on and move on to. And then I think I need to figure something out that you guys can practice doing the edge work and line work. Now the line exercise, if you were at ReaperCon, it's really, really whack, and it's the same brush control. One of the first things we ever did, drawing lines with your brush, keeping those lines really thin. That's going to be really helpful. So you can do that now, but I'm going to try and figure something out. I'll try and figure something out that we can do to practice that. But really, that's something I've noticed just across the board that people need to be able to grasp a lot better. But, so you're at like an 80%, right? That other 20 is refining and crisping your edges. So that's really the only feedback I have for you, and I hope people can go look at the picture that you just posted so that makes sense, everything that I was just saying, because your tones are good. The tones are perfect, so you're there. It's just pushing a little bit brighter, and you'll be good to go. So let me see. Let me see. Did better with this than the non-metallic metal, I think. I need to go back to that one. In terms of being able to kill it, I think it's good. So, all right, yeah. Get out of here, guys. Go with your families. Have a good time. And, yeah, I think it was really good. Thanks so much. Obviously, show me all the work that you're doing. I'll take a picture in the morning, and I will see you guys later. So, thanks so much, and can't wait to see what you do. Bye.